to creating a new storm today. Because what does a storm do? It paves a new path, a path without any pavement. All right, full screen. Let's get started. I want people to think about what I just said. How can we pave a new path if without pavement? Is that possible? What do you think? Is it possible? Can a bird fly without wings? Can you eat cereal without milk? Can I drink coffee without a mug? Is it possible? If I gave you the answer, then it is possible. But what if I didn't give you the answer? Is it not possible? Just because you didn't know something, does it mean it's not possible? What if I gave you the answer, but you didn't realize what to do with it because I didn't break it down step by step? What if I broke it down sufficiently, but there was knowledge there, or there was information there that you couldn't piece together yet because it was outside of your bubble? So we each have a bubble. We each have a reality bubble. Think of it like our dimension, our perception, our what we know. And as that increases, our bubble expands. So if right now you didn't know that there's a sticky note back there, right? Until I moved out of the way. Now you know. Do you understand that even if I go back to this position, each and every one of you now knows that there's a yellow sticky note there. It doesn't matter if I change this end, you guys see, like now you know. But if I never moved out of the way, if I never changed my angle, each and every one of you would have never known. But what if I just told you, hey guys, I want all of you to know that there's a yellow sticky note back there that says, hey, we heal if we believe we reclaim control of the narrative or know how to handle said issue or topic and how to move forward. Oh, so now you even know what the sticky note says. Does it say that? Is there actually one back there? What do you guys think? Do we understand that information is not harmless, first of all? But second of all, you see how everything changes now. Think about, what am I getting you to focus on? What am I getting you to pay attention to? What am I getting you to think about? What path am I getting you to walk on? Am I paving a path for you that doesn't actually have pavement? What do you think? You see, I can put all the seeds on the road. I can water them for you. And yet, I could actually make them become a tree. Do you understand? I could sprout the tree for you, each and every single one of you. I could. I know how to do so. I know how to teach. I know how to guide. I know how to heal. I understand paths. I understand how they brainwash us, which means that I choose not to do that as often as possible. Only in very rare occasions do I use it for good, only to break people free. And the moment they've broken free of the hold that these entities, both physical and spiritual, that literally decide what information is presented to us, what suggestions are repeated to us and reinforced to us over and over again to start paths to guide us down the roads they want us to walk and to rearrange us to become the things that they choose to make us be, so that we can be slotted into the storylines that they want for us, not the ones that we write. Some of you might be like, oh, but others might be following along right now. Do we understand? I just am breaking people free by presenting information, and I can give more and more and more and more, and I will, right? But what I'm doing now, what I want every single person to understand is I'm giving you guys the answers up front. Some of you, it might not make any sense, but for others, it might. So what does that mean? I'm giving you guys the answers. I'm giving you guys an open Pandora's box that is safe, right? You're not the one who has to explore it and deal with the repercussions. I'm giving you the answers, but the safe version of it. Now, what do you do with them is up to you. What do we do with answers when they're given to us? What do we do with them? Is it really up to us, though? Is it? I say that, right? That we each decide. But are we currently each deciding? I want all of you to think about this one. By the end of the stream today, you will have the answer. But are we each actually deciding when we get an answer presented to us? Are the most of us relying on someone to piece together the entire answer for us? Do we need a guide for anything, right? Do we think we need it or do we actually need it? Is there a difference? These these are the questions that I want people to think about. These are the questions that actually matter. Because for far too long, one of my struggles was that I was enslaved, chained, and ensnared vines to give everyone all the answers. And I still want to do that, by the way. And I still am doing that, by the way. But there was a caveat that I didn't foresee, which was as I learned everything, and you could say that I was given it intentionally or I discovered it by accident. It doesn't matter. One of the themes that you're going to hear me go back to frequently over and over again is we have to move forward and it doesn't matter. Those two things are basically the answer to everything. If you, as long as you're moving forward and you realize it doesn't matter, you're safe. All right? That's really it. Those are the two things. So I started caring too much that if people would figure it out, if people would wake up, if people would snap out of it, and people would actually start breaking free so that they could walk forward with me or without me. But really, I just wanted them to walk forward so that we could win, so we could defeat the things that are doing this to us, both physical and spiritual. Why? Because there's no reason for the world to be this way. There's not. When if we have all this knowledge, if the world is capable of so much, if there's so many things that can be easily changed to good, with just very minor changes that don't require a lot, and most of it is just snapping people out of the paths that they're currently on and the storylines that they believe they need to be doing, but they don't. They don't even understand how they got there. Right? Once you snap them out of it and they get out of their corruption and their darkness, all of a sudden they're like, wait, I don't care about hurting people. I don't care about doing this. I don't care about doing that. I just want to help people. I want to heal people. I want to be good. I don't care about money. Why did I care about that? And everything changes. So, what if I gave you guys the answer on how to do that? What if I gave you the answer already multiple times? Yet, what if you haven't changed at all? What if you still think that there's a right way to do things? For example, there might be some of you right now, and this is going to be the most interesting part, but your reaction to this is going to tell a lot about yourself. Some of you might have judged the fact that I'm wearing a blue dress shirt with all the buttons buttoned up without a tie, and also a blue shepherd coat while putting focus to my shepherd talisman, Palmancier Griever. Some of you might not have even paid attention to that whatsoever until I brought attention to it. Do we understand? That means that you have no preconceived notions to that. You don't have specific conditioning attached to that. You're not programmed or coded to value those things, to care about those things. For positive or for negative, you might actually have a negative reaction to these things. That means that they installed poison code in you. You might have a positive reaction to that, be like, wow, that's awesome. This guy doesn't care that it's not a contrast of colors or something like that. He just does his own thing. How awesome is that? You see, all depending on your reaction tells you your conditioning and the programming that they have installed in you, whoever is listening. Do we get it? So that means if you were like, oh my gosh, look at this guy with that, you understand that that means that they've installed poison code in you or positive code, or you broke free and you have positive to that. It's just that simple. What you do with that answer now is up to you. Do you understand? Like, I could right now spend 30 minutes to 10 hours explaining to you how to break that, how to heal that, how to change that. I have in my previous streams and posts. Go check them out. Star Diplomat on YouTube, Fabian Chigoya, Shepherd Star Diplomat on LinkedIn. Check it out. But do you guys understand? If you do so, you can spend hours and hours and hours deciphering and deconstructing all the answers that I've given. There's so many. Yet most of you won't do that because you want the answers given in a neat, condensed package that just tells you how A to Z and get there in the fastest, shortest time possible. And it's not an accident, by the way, because if you want speed, if you want immediate results, it's because you've been built to care about that. You've been built to want that. It's called corruption. It's called the dark path. Okay? So I'm going to stop there. But I want, because what I was doing right now is I was starting a path for myself. But I also wanted to talk about something a little different. But I wanted to show people, do you guys see how much information I can give you? I know all this stuff. I could talk about this for decades. Yet that's not what today is about. So let's take a step back. I'm going to take a bite of cereal. What you do with everything I just gave you right now is up to you. There's some people that might be like, I can't wait until the stream is over and I'm going to rewind it and listen to all of that again because I gave a lot of information, a lot of valuable information. If you start piecing things together, there's a lot of answers in that. Yet others are like, what? Do we get it? How is that possible? I gave the same information, I gave the same delivery, no matter what. Yet some of you are going to use it differently. How is that possible? What if I decided that I can't finish this stream until every single person, let's just say there was 10 people watching, okay? I invited 10 people and they're all watching. Until every single 10 people, all 10 people know everything about it, okay? Until every single person gets the answer and is confirmed that they understand it, then we can move on. What if that was the case? Do we understand? At that point, I care about the result. I care about the reward. What's the reward in this case? Could be that I want their praise. I want everyone to be like, oh my God, thank you so much for helping us get the answers and breaking free mentally and being able to change our stories and finally being able to walk forward and no longer care what people think and no break our conditioning, break our programming, heal our insecurities. Thank you so much. How can we ever repay you? Do we like, what can I do for you? Like, what? And I'm like, it's not about that. Like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, I don't care about the reward. They're like, okay, well, you're like, do you want me to like follow you on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube or send you donations? Or I'm like, no. Like, so you don't want to care about if your profiles grow? I'm like, the only benefit would be so that it reaches more people. Like, but you don't care anything about it for yourself anymore? I'm like, no. So what happens if you reach a state of not caring about actually what happens after you give information or after you do something like that? And by the way, right, I'm not doing it for harm. Okay, I'm not doing it for harm. Yet I'm telling you, do we understand? When you reach a state like that, what happens? What happens? Have you guys ever thought about that? That means that you can do things, you can do actions, you can go anywhere, you can do anything. And yet you don't care what that result will end up being. People are like, how can you not care? I'm like, I want everyone to wake up. I want everyone to be free. But it's not up to me. I can do my best to tip the odds in that direction. Absolutely. And that's what I'm doing. I'm giving all the answers. Yet do we see I'm not waiting around to see what happens? Once in a while, for fun, for my own perverse enjoyment, I want to see kind of what's happening, right? Just from a distance, be like, okay, well, I did this. What happened? I'm like, oh, wow, interesting. So that's the result. But it doesn't actually matter. Do we understand? Yet all I care about is that the world changes. Yet I can take a step back now and just be like, well, this is what I did. Let's see how if anything's going to change or not. Many of you can't even fathom or comprehend anything I'm talking about right now. You can't even. There's so many other things that matter more to you right now. You're like, how can you even get to that? Like, what are you talking about? Like, this guy is crazy. What is he like? What? If you can't understand it yet, it's because you haven't done the climb. You haven't progressed. You're not on the light path. You're not healed. You have corruption inside of you. You have darkness inside of you. And that is normal. Let me tell you, every single day, they try their hardest to corrupt me, to get me dark consumed, to get me filled with hatred, to make me want to be a person of revenge. And every day, I not only shatter it, scatter it, and go on a light path of belief and say my oath because, well, I'm the shepherd, the star diplomat. All right? And everything's a reminder to heal. Everything is a reminder for how far we've come and how much we deal with. And if you still can't handle it, well, then anything that you deal with is just a level, a dungeon that's meant to be overcome, right? And then you think about your happy place, right? I call it my pyra, right? After I overcome the dungeon. But really, the past doesn't matter. We have to move forward. So I gave all the answers now to everything that I'm going to talk about today. So now I'm going to talk about it a little differently. Think about that you're back in school. Oh no, I know, right? Maybe in South America, it's a little different there. And you get doesn't matter. Just think about that you're back in school, okay? Doesn't matter what kind of school. And there's a test coming up. It's a very challenging test, right? That's what everyone tells you. And answers are given to you. And you didn't even ask for them. Okay? Answers are given to you and you didn't even ask for them. But you stumble upon them. And this test could be, let's just say, Earth, how the world works, right? Um, we're at school. Earth is a school, okay? And we got the answers to Earth itself. How does the world work? How can we wield Earth as a vessel in such a way to um, meld it into what we desire, to what we want it to happen, to the vision, the peaceful world of hope, of light, of love, of unity, of progress, of evolution. How can we get it to that? All right. I'm going to assume if I'm telling you, if all of you heal and you get on the light path and you believe and you remember who you are and what you're capable of and what you were meant to actually teach and evolve and guide on, I promise each and every one of you that you're going to align with me on this. Okay. That part, I'm not letting you decide. Do you hear that? I'm not letting you decide that part because I'm telling you, most of you just have never gotten to that point. So you don't even know. I'm saying once you feel that way, then you know that you've done it. You made it. Okay. So that's something to look forward to because it's the best feeling of all. Because then you're fully free. And all you care about is making everything better. Okay. Because you just believe in the possibilities. Now, so you're given the answer to Earth, to the world, how it works. Okay. And because you're going to be tested on it. Right. I mean, if you think about it, isn't that kind of like our daily life? Aren't we all just trying to figure out the game of life? I think a lot of people subdivide themselves into specializations to try to figure it out, but really everyone's just trying to use money as a scapegoat, as a cheat code to bypass actually figuring out how the world works and how the game of life works. And now we've started using other tools as well. And the majority of you have become reliant on AI for that purpose too. Okay. So I'm saying, forget all that. But you guys are always, if you think about it, every single day, we're trying to figure out the answers to the world, to life, how to best navigate it. Each and every one of us is a navigator. Okay. So, what if I now gave you all the answers to actually how the world works? Every single thing. All right. If you listen to it, you have all the answers. Okay. That means that you win. You can win if you choose to. All right. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean that you don't have to still execute on some things, but you have all the answers. When the question pops up, it's like, hey, is he going to eat a bite of cereal right now? And you know the answer is yes. What are you going to say? Am I going to eat a bite of cereal right now? But what if you said no? You knew that it was yes. You knew it was yes, but you chose to say no intentionally. Why would you do that? Is there a reason to do that? Because I didn't figure it out. Because I don't believe in getting things handed to me. Like what? Like you see, like all of a sudden, there's things to be figured out there. Do we get it? So it's like if we're given the answers, how do we use them? It's not so black and white as people think. We always think we want all the answers. I'm telling you, everyone thinks so, but then when you have them, right, it changes things because when you understand how everything operates, it changes motivations, it changes past, it changes. I mean, for some of you, I think everyone's first going to have maybe a little fear because it's so different than what we think. And eventually you can overcome it, but right, it's a whole new progression climb, it's a whole new game, right? Everything changes. So what do you do then? Right? Like it's not so easy to just determine. But what if I told you I figured out how to actually, after you get the answer and you answer, and then you have to navigate, let's say, like a swimming pool, a swamp, a mountain, a forest, a desert, a frost area, like full of snow, and then you end up in a volcano. Then you get to see a concert of a beautiful girl singing. I don't know, right? It doesn't matter, right? But and I'm like, I can help you navigate all that, and then you can get to the point where you can thrive. I know exactly how to do so because I learned how to learn from my experiences. So I learned exactly how they did things and what happens and how it works, and I can give that to you. And I could, right? And I have. My path is out there for people if they want to look for it. Star Diplomat, search it, YouTube, LinkedIn. Read all my posts. The path is there. The trail is there. It's created. So what you find though is if I could do that for you guys and it's there. But what if I actually just now plant some seeds, give you some info, give you the answers in like bullet point form essentially. But I don't go in depth, right? I don't go in depth, but I go a few layers deeper than what the majority do, which is they create a vagueness of just suggestion to try to create poison and problems and install doubt in you. I'm saying I'm actually giving you the answers. I'm starting the path for you. And you're like, wait a minute. And then it's just enough to snap you out of it. Okay. But what happens then? What happens then? If the hero or the villain, depending on who is interpreting the information, is going to view it differently, right? If it interferes with maybe something they set up that lets them get all the money and exploit, they're going to view the person who gives the info and the answers as the villain. For someone who's getting exploited, they're going to view that person as a Jesus, as a hero. Do we understand? Okay. It's not simple. So, why would the hero or the villain wait around to see the results of his actions? Ask yourself that. Why? Think about it. If it actually doesn't matter. So, if I give, if let's say the hero, let's not even say I, but if a hero or a villain gives answers, okay? No matter what they do after that, they're no longer going to interact or give more information, right? Or maybe they do, but it's to a new town, a new city. They just move on to the next city, right? But let's say even if they waited behind, they're just there. Do we understand that the outcome, that whatever people's reaction is going to be the same regardless? Now, if the person is there, though, it changes. Why? Because now people might want to ask follow up questions. People now might want to charge and attack or be grateful. If you just move forward, that's gone. It's like, why? How could you give away like so much info, so many answers, and not care about anything in return? I'm like, do we understand what's the purpose of every single action that we each do? Disruption. You disrupt every single person's timeline, every single person's storyline. What happens then? Free will. Think about that one. Free will. It's just a reminder to you. If every single person can decide for themselves, some people are going to use it differently than others. Some people are going to thrive with that information. Some people are going to break free with that information. But then you want everyone to break free? I'm like, sure, the hero wants that, the villain wants that. But they have enough. It should be enough to break any person free. If they can't do so, is it not on them? If I gave you all the answers to the test, or if the hero or the villain gave you all the answers to how the world works, and then you got a quiz, and then you failed the quiz, yet you had all the answers given to you up front, whose fault is it? Now, the person who failed the quiz, why did they fail it? Why did they not know how to use the answers? Did they choose intentionally to fail it? Did they choose not to use the answers intentionally? That's a different question. Do they want to do the progress climb? Like, I refuse to just get taken all the way to the top without putting in the work. Fair, right? But what if it's actually that they've been conditioned? They created a lens for them where they can't see anything. They can't even see the possibility that it is the answer. So they're essentially guaranteed to fail the quiz. And they don't even know that they are chosen to fail the quiz. They were destined, they were built, they were created, they were constructed from day one in their life to fail the quiz based on every single experience, based on every single piece of information that's been presented to them repeatedly and reinforced repeatedly over and over against their paths and the poison they put in them. So then I ask you though, is it really up to them? That is where the hero and the villain used to get stuck, because you know that there's individuals out there that have no chance. They were chosen for failure. They were chosen to suffer. They were chosen to lose. So in the past, the hero or the villain would fight for those, and he still does. Yet now, it's at the right time, at the right place. But you see, we still have to let people decide. And it's a really challenging one. It's a really challenging one because you want to help people, right? You want to cause disruptions. But what if you give, I don't know, right? You see, like, it's not a simple, like, I want people to now think about it from, I kind of explained a little bit how it works, right? But now imagine you were it's you, whoever's listening to this. I'm thinking about like if either if you have a child or like a cousin, a nephew, someone that's younger than you, someone that looks up to you, or someone that you could teach anything that you're good at. Could be anything, okay? Could be literally how to walk, how to whistle, how to snap your fingers, how to sing. So I make this wish, fare thee well. Na, na, na. It doesn't matter, right? You guys decide, whatever it is, okay? Just something. There has to be something that you're good at. So imagine you were responsible for giving the answers to anything, right? And I think most of us would want to then know that we taught the people looking up to us or trying to learn from us, whatever we're trying to push, whatever we're trying to guide, right? I think that's just naturally how it is. I think anyone, if you're a guy and you had ever had a girl and you try to teach her anything that you were into, right? I think a lot of you struggle because you always then like that's not how you do it. That's the wrong thing. Like you should use this. They always try to teach her like the optimal way, the best way. It's not easy. Do you guys understand? It's extremely challenging. It's extremely challenging to teach because you want to teach them the best way, the optimal way, because you know that you first of all, then some people then take it to the next step, right, which is level two, where they're like, okay, I need to walk in their shoes and understand their path and the climb. What did I do, right? How did I climb again? Because it's really hard to remember where you started on your progress journey and how you first learned those things, right? So as we're learning how to experience, but I think a lot of us just learn by getting info presented to us. And most of you, that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you interpret anything. That's how, whenever something's presented to you, you just pay attention to the direct info. So, for example, right, like if right now you watch a movie or you play a game, right, most of you guys will, or most people will only learn from the dialogue. Like, this, what's the story? What's that? But what if there's other things that are happening? What if literally you could learn from what is actually my experience itself while I'm watching this movie? Not even the movie itself. Like, hey, what was the setup before this? How did I set up while watching this? What happened during this? Like, all those stuff could be lessons to be learned, right? You see, you're learning from the experience, but most of us don't do that yet, right? We haven't gotten to that point where we can learn how to learn from our experience. I'm telling you, now when I play a video game, I'm not, most of the lessons I'm actually not learning this from the story or the info presented from the characters. Yes, once in a while there is some valuable stuff there, but I'm actually learning from my experience, from what I'm choosing to do and what I'm actually encountering while I'm playing the game. Okay, I'm like, oh, that happened. What did I learn there? So, what I want each one of you to think about while you're starting to decide how to use answers is, I want you to think about what happens when you fail at something. Okay, when you make a mistake, I think most of us want to reload. I think most of us want to be able to just retry. And that's not an accident. We're made to feel that way. I want everyone to understand this part. It's not an accident. We're made to feel that way from the beginning, okay? Because that's also corruption. So when you get sad, when you get angry, when you feel bad, right? You want an easier path, right? And it makes sense. It really does. And once in a while, it's okay to go back to something of comfort. But the problem is, it prevents progression, it prevents learning new things, it prevents evolving, it prevents moving forward. So I challenge all of you to start getting into the habit of writing things down, okay? Because if you're, I'm telling you guys, video games, especially complex ones like a good RPG, has so much to learn, right? There's a million different paths, and you can just walk forward. And I recommend for people like playing like a game like Baldur's Gate or like Divinity, right? They're older games. They should be cheap. And they're games that just have paths that you can walk. And I recommend though, don't save and reload. Just keep walking. Like every time something happens, just save, right, and keep walking forward because it's you're practicing walking forward. Okay. But when something bad happens and you have to just resolve it, right, with whatever happens, you start realizing, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm like, oh, that was really bad. That's not how it should have gone. And you're right. It shouldn't have went that way. Like you didn't have certain knowledge, you didn't have the answers yet, so you made mistakes, or there was things that were unexpected that occurred that now you know. Oh, that's where that happens. Okay, now I'm prepared for that. But do we see all of a sudden, like if you just keep marching forward after the failure, and you're like, oh, I can't believe we failed. We lost that fight or that encounter, that challenge. But then what if I snapped you out of it? I'm like, wait a minute, interrupt. What is this, guys? Currency. No, it's a Q-tip. I'm gonna drink some water. You guys ever drink water from a different container? Changes experience. So I want each and one of you to believe you're amazing. You're incredible. You got this. You always were capable. You always could achieve. You always were more than you thought. Each and every one of you. You were made to forget. They intentionally made you forget. They intentionally started paths to poison you. They intentionally put you in a prison and surrounded you by people and info and made you only consume certain things to make you think that you're not. And I'm telling you, you guys can achieve anything. I know you can. You're really good. So, why do I say that? Because you don't even realize how much you learn per thing. And most of you just haven't been able to actually just like break it down and piece it together. But do you guys understand? Like, if you're functioning today in the world that we live in, you've learned so many things. But I'm telling you, like, if you just write down, like, what did I all actually learn this attempt? And many of you actually don't. And that's intentional. They made you not learn how to learn. Okay. Because you're not learning from your experiences. You only learn from blatant, direct info. And it works, but there's more to it. Okay. So what if I'm like, okay, so we lost this attempt. What did I figure out though? I'm like, all right, so I learned that this attack doesn't work. I learned that this approach over here actually is really good. I learned that distance and from this angle is actually really good. I learned that this has this weird interaction that only happens there. Why would that happen? Interesting. I might have to figure out more there. I learned that I should give each thing a purpose. I learned that I should make my tools matter so that I use them more often. I learned that maybe I actually don't always need to get use the best things. I don't actually maybe need all this money and all these upgrades. What if it's just a strategy change is enough? What if I just change the order? Could that be enough to have a different impact? And you start writing things down, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. When I first, when the event first happened, I thought I just failed. I thought I just lost. And all of a sudden I'm looking at this piece of paper and I'm like, whoa, I wrote down all that stuff. All those are lessons that I learned. I'm like, wait a minute. Do I actually know how to learn? Do I know how to piece things together? Do I know how to figure things out? And if I'm not there yet, cool. Well, then I start asking yourself after every single thing like that. I'm like, well, what did I learn? What did I learn? And you start then focusing more so on the experience than the direct info themselves. Do we understand? That's the key. I'm telling you, all of you right now, when you're living life, you're walking forward, if you are at all, even if you actually can, because they try to do your best to keep bringing you back to the past, so you never do move forward. You don't focus on what you're learning as you're experiencing. If you actually pause and piece it together, like, wait a minute, look at all the stuff that we learned and how we piecing things together and how we're figuring things out. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how small. Anything that you figure out is a success, is an answer, is victory. They make you think that it doesn't matter. It's for each and every one of you, it matters. And as you progress and as you do the climb, all those little things are just going to be a given, right? Because you've progressed so far. But at the beginning, they matter. So don't sell yourself short. Okay, guys? You got this. So do we see that it's not so easy, right, to give all the answers? But what if you did? Not everyone is going to use them the same way. Not everyone is going to know how to piece them together. Not everyone is going to be able to figure it out. Some people need it literally spelled out for them that, hey, do you guys know that there's illusions in this world, right? Like, and they like need like a video of it like literally happening for them to, and then even then they're still going to write it off, and they can't then go by themselves and explore and try to stress test things and push the limits. Be like, wait, if I did this, what happens? Wait, okay, I use this viewing angle. Like, you see, like, I'm going to stop there, but I just want people to understand, like, when a potential question or something is brought up to you, like, could it be? Could that be how the world actually works? What do you do when that info is presented to you? Do you try to experience? Do you try to explore? Do you try to investigate? Do you try to actually figure it out and deconstruct it and be like, how did that happen? I'm like, okay, when I did this, something happened. Why did that happen? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to remind me of? Why is that happening? Why is that whenever I try to do anything new, that's a progression challenge to push myself, to evolve, to learn, to keep climbing, to keep moving forward? Why is it that they always try poison? Why is it that right before I'm about to experience info, direct, blatant info in anything new that I'm doing, I always get nudged a reminder of something. And then right after that, as I walk just a few more steps forward, it could usually it's seconds, but sometimes it could be a minute or two. All of a sudden I experience something. I'm like, wait a minute. All of a sudden, like, I can see a connection from A to B. Like, so that means that they preemptively seasoned me and nudged me how to use a toy kitchen right before I found the toy kitchen. I'm like, why? I'm like, so interesting. So that means that they literally present something beforehand to change our interpretation of it to either attach poison or good. Doesn't mean that's always bad. Do you guys hear that? But do you see? I'm just trying to show you guys. Did you guys have you guys ever pieced that together? There's so much more that I could go talk about, but do we understand? Like, I'm telling you, like when that happened to me, I'm like, why is that happening? I'm like, how does that happen? Before I didn't realize, I was just like, oh, why is this? And then I'm like, wait a minute, it's because sometimes, like, let's say like you're playing or you're watching something and you don't catch it. Like I didn't catch it before, but all of a sudden, like I'm mentally somewhere else. Like I'm, let's say, like I'm looking out at the doves and the trees and like paying attention to the storm, the massive storm that's forming. It's going to be a huge windstorm that's going to also create this, cause a lot of destruction and disruptions to timelines, but it's going to create new paths for everyone yet again as this gets distributed to the entire world and people start figuring things out. And I'm watching it develop, right, in the clouds, and also I'm doing that, and I was like, do you remember when I was at the resort with the hot girl? Yeah, when we were cuddling. Yeah. Oh, like, wait, what? You like in her bikini, her white bikini, or maybe her yellow bikini, or her pink bikini. Oh, what? Do you guys understand? Like, you all of a sudden you're like in a different spot, and it's just like it's one after another. It's like you're walking mentally down this path, and all of a sudden, like if there's like an interruption or you know how to interrupt it, you can do so, right? But most people can't do that. Okay, so it happens to all of us. And then all of a sudden, right after that, I'm like, what if right now, in my background, if I had the girl here with me, she just walks by, right? And maybe she's just wearing like like a swimsuit cover, but she's wearing a bikini. I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like, oh wait, you're streaming? Like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, yeah, go away. And she's wearing one of those colored bikinis. Do you guys understand? Do we understand how this is done? And I'm saying stuff like that happens. So now I'm giving you guys the answers. So now I've given you also information. You understand? Now that I've presented this to you, if you're listening to this and you're following along, now you might pay attention to it. Now you might notice it. Like, wait a minute. Whenever I'm doing something new to try to evolve, try to help me, that's actually helping me heal or making me believe or making me grow, making me develop, they always try to attach things beforehand to ruin whatever I'm about to do. I'm like, why does that happen? I'm like, oh, there's actually entities in this world that can put things directly into our head, and most of us though they rely on sounds and things around us and direct info suggestions that we can see and sense to present the nudge into us, right? Because right now I say, hey guys, did you hear the new Star Wars song? All of a sudden you guys see like where I'm teleporting you, and that's how they normally do it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, guys, have you guys played this new space game? You guys now might go into it with a Star Wars lens. You're like, why? It's a new thing. It's his own thing. Trying to move forward. But I'm telling you, I'm not saying that we of course we use the past and everything we've experienced to guide us, right? To give us interpretations. But do you realize actually that you don't need it, because when we were a fresh born lamb or a dove, we didn't have that, right? Now people presented it to us, but at the beginning, we didn't really understand everything yet when we were a little kid. Okay, so it means we're just kind of like absorbing and piecing things together. And you realize that we are okay. That means that we don't need people or everything to give us all the answers. We can. It does work. But do you understand? I'm like, what? It could prevent evolution. It could prevent people from developing. So see, that's where my struggle lies now. And like for me now, I take a step back and I think it's absolutely super fascinating. That's how I know I've changed. Because now I'm like, I can present this info now. I just kind of want to see how people react to it and respond to it and develop from it. I wasn't like that 18 months ago. I wanted to help people, I want to teach people, but I didn't care about that. Do you understand? Like I cared more so about the external, about the reward, about the validation, about the praise, about what I could get from doing that. Now I'm saying it's interesting to see just how the world itself is going to evolve. Yes, I want it to heal. Yes, I want it to improve. Yes, I want it to be all these great things. But now I can take a step back and be like, even if it doesn't, I hope it does. I really do, because I want to defeat these dark things. And when I say defeat, I still would love to work with them. It's so weird. I keep getting back to this, because they're capable of things that literally are impossible. Now I know they're possible, right? So you see, my the criteria and threshold of impossible has changed. But I'm like, they're so good at what they do, timing and reminders and setting things up. I'm like, they could develop humanity to a level that has never been seen before if we could get them to realize that, hey, if you guys need something, we can figure out how to get it for you guys. If you need certain stories to happen, we can figure out how to make them happen. But why don't we just work together to evolve humanity, right? But that's another topic. Anyway, so do you guys see, like, you hear about the things that I'm talking about? You guys be like, what is he talking? If you don't understand that yet, it's because you're not there, and that's fine. You see, like, I'm giving so many answers, and each person gets to decide how to use them. Well, what do you do with them, right? I'm saying that that's my answer, right? We need to make sure that each person can choose to do how they answer once they have the answers. They get to decide at their own pace. Yet I also realized my struggle is that I'm like, well, then do I just not give the answers at all? I'm like, no, I still have to. I still have to fight. I still have to attack, to heal, to push, to cause disruptions, because most people aren't going to search for it. Most people are going to not be able to piece it together. So I have to sometimes weigh being more blatant, leaving mystery, not doing it. You see, like, it's always a balance. I'm always trying to figure things out. But at the end of the day, is I put a treasure chest, and there's no lock, and people can open it. And what they find there is it has all the answers. But for some people, they're like, well, I don't even know what this is. I'm like, this is a shield, a reminder to heal. Do you guys know what a shield is? I'm like, this is a symbol for spiritualism and my connection with my you. Like, what? I'm like, this is how I create self nudge paths. It's like, it's just a piece of paper. Lid and the pen. This is an interrupt. What is an interrupt? This is a reminder to teleport me to different time periods to start a positive shield path. The heal infestation. They're like, what do you see? Like, do you guys get it? Like, there's so many things that for you won't. I could have the treasure chest there with all those things. I'm like, hey guys, these are all your tools. Like yesterday, I went on a battle, right, to defeat darkness, my own darkness, but also really to give a lot of answers. And I made sure I had all these tools this time, because before I tried, but because I once you get really good, you don't need all the tools. But I'm like, okay, so what if, like, the hero comes back this time and he has all these tools, right? I'm like, I have a pen and a piece of paper. I'm like, all right, bring it on, Dark Dragon. And this is what I show up with. And everyone else is like, what? This is what he shows up with: a piece of paper, a pen, and a mug. Do we understand? It's not so easy. Do you guys get it? It's you have to be able. It's what you do with it. You, I can give you all the answers, but most of you aren't going to use it. Once you start opening your eyes to possibility, you need to start deciding, I need to walk a path. I need to explore. I need to learn how to experience. I need to stress test. I need to test. I need to be like, okay, if I try this, what happens? Like, well, why did that happen? How did that happen? Could I recreate that? Why did that happen this time? If I don't do this time, does something else change? Oh, it doesn't change. Okay, that means that I need to learn how to defend myself from that. Oh, but if I don't do this, this is a little better. I'm like, actually, they updated my reality. Things are different now. It doesn't matter now. Before, I had figured it out. If I don't do anything, nothing happens. Now, even if I don't do anything, something happens. So what does that mean? I need to fight back to heal. Because if we heal when we believe we reclaim control of the narrative. So that means to do so, we have to fight back, but without revenge. Do we get it? I'm trying to show you guys that I can give you all the answers. It's up to you how you use them. What are you going to do with them? You have the answers to the test. How will you use them? Will you heal? Will you help people? Will you awaken people? Will you guide people? Will you use it? Will you just actually hibernate and get quiet, build your own arc for at least 40 days, block all information, get quiet, and just start healing? Just start focusing on what matters. Remember what actually matters, not what they made you care about. Because most of the things that right now most of us care about, if you haven't gone quiet and hibernated and blocked access to you, You care about things that actually don't matter to you at all. I promise you, each and every one of us, it has happened to without us even realizing it, because they just start us on paths and they just repeatedly reinforce things wherever we're at. They installed people, info, noise, suggestions, and other things to present stuff to us to get us to care about things that don't matter. And we didn't even know how it happened. And I'm telling you, that's how they get us to do stories that are not our own. It happened to each and every one of us our entire life. I mean, if you think about it, like when you're a kid, you follow your parents, right? Just think about it like that. Right now, you're following things. You're following the info that's presented to you the most and the paths that are starting. And all of you don't know how to resist or break them yet. Once you get quiet and you can remember who you actually are, and you get to decide and you destroy all your conditioning programs. So, for example, if right now, every time I eat my cereal, you hold it like this and you with my right hand, can I hold it the other way? And can I use other fingers? Something as simple as that. You guys understand? That's an analogy for everything in your life. And then once you start being able to identify your programs, you're like, okay, when I talk, I do this. Can this time I do this or do this, right? Do you guys understand? Each thing is a program if it's repeated over and over and over and over and over again. Can you break it? You identify it and then you choose to break it. Why? Because if you can't break it, do we understand that means that they just have to call that program forward and then you do it? If every time someone's like, cereal, cereal, do you understand that you expect an intended reaction? That means that they're like, okay, right when we want to have this happen, in that direction and to the left, we're gonna call for someone's gonna yell cereal outside, so that right then he eats cereal, but so that he won't actually respond to that thing on the left. Do you understand? That's how they guide our paths. Okay. But I've talked about a lot. That's not today's topic, but I just wanted people to understand. You see, like sprinkling little answers to get people to start questioning. Because I'm telling you, until you start getting other information, you always think that it could be something else, or you wave it away with logic. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? At first. But until you be like, wait, could it be actually something different? Most of us maybe actually think that, wait, that was really weird. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. But we are afraid to be like, well, I experienced something that doesn't make sense, right? Like, I'm like, could the things that are flying in the skies actually be illusions? Could they just be spawned by something else? Could that be possible? No? Maybe? What if I told you it is? How would you ever know? Unless you could fly right now and go and grab it, right? But what if you actually can feel it? What if illusions can actually physically manifest? Do you understand? Like, I could keep going, right? But I'm not trying to lose people, but I'm just trying to get you to understand. Do you guys see that until something is presented to us that makes us question, be like, is that possible? Could that be different than I thought? Or I always thought that this world was weird in that regard. Like, I don't believe in coincidences. They happen intentionally. They're made to happen. I'm like, yeah, they are. Then you start piecing it together. I'm like, whoa, okay. But I could tell some people this, and I'm telling you, no matter what, they're going to think that I'm wrong. No matter what. It doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. Do you guys get it? It doesn't matter. They will always think that I'm wrong, that I'm the villain, that I'm bad, that I'm trying to hurt people. No matter what. Even if it's not affecting them negatively. Do we understand? It's just because they've been so indoctrinated. Their lens is so black and white in only one direction. They can't even see the possibility that it could be anything else. And I'm telling you, anytime I experience something, hear what the word I said, experiencing myself, an experience. I evaluate every angle, every single one when I experience something, not info presented to me, right? If someone tells me right now, like, everything you said is wrong, I'm like, there's nothing to evaluate there. But if I experience something right now and I'm like, wait a minute, okay, maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe something, you see that I start doing an investigation. I start stress testing things. And after a certain point, you don't have to do that as much anymore, if at all. But at the beginning, when you're doing the climb, when you're learning, when you're piecing together the answers and you're actually deciding how to use them, you need to explore that. You need to. But then how you use them after that is up to you. But right now, the majority of you can't even get to the point where you can decide how you use the answers. This is actually the key. This is it. This is what I was building up to. I didn't realize it. Most of you, I'm going to write it down. Most of you can't decide how to use the answers. They're not free. Majority can't decide how to use answers. Their reaction is determined for them. How sad is that? How fucking sad is that? That is why we have to fight to break free. I think about one of my leg girls. Really hot, amazing legs. All right. I know for a fact that no matter what is presented to her, she's going to react a certain way. Now, she might have changed now. I haven't interacted with her in quite a while, but I don't think so because they had drilled certain things into her so much that no matter what, her reaction was always the same. Now, is it possible that she's changed? Yeah. I mean, I've changed 1,000% in the last 18 months, but I'm telling you guys, most of you don't even have a choice. If you don't understand how to break free, if you don't know this stuff, you don't even have a choice. Your reaction is predetermined. And I'm telling you, and it happens with good and bad. Okay? We have to break free. So let's finish up. This is really good. Do you see, guys, like why the hero or the villain just needs to walk forward to the next town? Now, they can go back and check once in a while, but we have to just keep giving new information, keep presenting more. Like we can't spend like I can't like if let's say I gave this talk, right? And now after this, I spend the next month, 2, 3, 4, 6 months only on this, reinterpreting it, re-explaining it, trying to get each and every one of you to understand every single thing that I'm talking about today. That's okay. But you understand that is where we get stuck. That's where we get stuck. Now, if I could go back to this a week or two from now for like a detox. What's a detox? Like when they poison you, when they corrupt you, especially every single morning, guys. I'm telling you, they can manipulate our dreams. They put programs in us and they install things that we are going to experience throughout the day that change our interpretation lens and our recency. So then the nudges that get presented are different based on what's repeated to us in our dreams for good and for bad, just so you guys know. But realize that if it's too much good, you know now that means that a path has started there. So what that means, you probably should walk away from that path for now, just because, only for one reason, guys, even if it's good. Because if it's too much good, that means that they're building it up, 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 building up. And the moment something is built up, if they take it away or they destroy it, do you guys understand? With anything, that's when we get destroyed. So that's why we have to be able to walk all paths and keep balance, skills of balance. But do you guys see, like, we have to be able to walk forward? If the hero or the villain spends 6 months trying to make sure that the town that he gave the treasure chest with all the answers to, that they all figure it out before he moves forward, he's vulnerable. And each of the other people are vulnerable too. We have to keep walking forward. He leaves it there, and maybe he comes back there 8 months later. He's like, whoa, he's like, everyone here has awoken. Everyone figured it out. Everyone is free. Everyone disrupted their storyline. Everyone now believes everyone's on a light path. No one is caring about money anymore. Oh my gosh. The landlords don't charge people rent anymore. Grocery stores give free food for people because they realize that, hey, we don't have money costs for survival. We are just free to just explore and develop and guide and teach the things that we're actually best at. Right? You're like, whoa. So this is what happened 8 months later. This is really cool. But what if you go, he or she, the villain or the hero, go back and they to this town and like, oh my gosh, it completely fell apart. there was like a war, a bloodbath. Like everyone started fighting because people realized that they were getting enslaved by their leaders and their bosses and the rich and the elite. And the rich and elite realized that they're being enslaved spiritually by mentally to care about things that don't matter. And they got corrupted and they're being uh, manipulated by their fears, their traumas, their insecurities, and they're being reminded of that. And then they're always being held hostage because now they're being compared to their circle, right? And now they realize all this, and now they're mad at the world, but the poor are mad at the rich, and now they got conflict. I'm like, oh, did I just cause this village or this town to destroy itself? Uh-oh. Do we understand? Like, so, but what if then I stayed there, or the hero villain stayed there, and they were just getting attacked or crucified? It doesn't matter. Do you see? Like, there's no positive to that. Once in a while, you can like just plant another seed or water it a little more, but there's really no reason to stay excessively in one place to see what the results are, because it's up to each and every single person. I didn't choose to make that village destroy itself. They're like, but you still caused it. I'm like, I left the info. I left an experience. I'm telling you guys, pen, paper, and mug. I can leave those three things for each and every single one of you. Okay. This is all you need to figure this out in this world. Okay. And I'm telling you, the majority of you would be like, what? How is it? Yet there's some of you who might be following along now who understand how these things could be used and how you can rewrite associations, how you can reprogram yourself, how you can condition yourself differently, how you can use it for a positive shield path. And positive paths are everything. You just have to interrupt and then go on a positive outlook. And then, right, you can use it to change your recency. Do you understand? So I'm like, is it actually my fault? I could leave these things, and some people would use this mug as a weapon, while others would use it as a tool to drink coffee or water, and other people would use it as a shield. Do we get it? Like, so at what point do we realize that, hey, we can only do so much? We can try our best. We're not trying to harm. We're just trying to make people believe. We're just trying to make people remember how good they are. That's my skill set. All right. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get each and every one of you to remember, to believe what you're capable of, because you're all amazing and you're all good. You just forgot. You're supposed to be free. You're meant for greater things. You're meant to teach. You're meant to guide. You're meant to inspire. You're meant to do something, but they prevented you by getting you stuck on a work storyline that's not yours. I'm telling you, would you still do it if you weren't getting paid anything and you didn't have to worry about survival costs? If you would, why? Because then maybe there's a reason, but are you only staying there because of the hot girl? Then is like, then where else can you get the hot girl? Are you staying there because you enjoy that it's a challenge to figure out? Because by the way, when they're reminding you excessive information and memories, trying to figure something out is powerful, right? Learning something new, figuring something out, and having to deal with challenges, right, can prevent excessive nudges. But what are you opening yourself up to if you stay away? Do you understand? Like, it's not so simple, right? But do you guys get it? There's no reason to remain behind somewhere after you've given the answers. You can see after you can check, be like, oh, let's see, just really quick. Okay, that's it. But if you spend too much time there, I'm telling you, we get stuck in the past and then we get trapped there. And then we start getting attachment and we start caring if people are figuring it out or not. And that is how they get us. Okay? We got to leave fate in each and everyone's hands. I'm telling you, there's nothing more that the hero or the villain, depending on your outlook, wants than for everyone to disrupt their timelines, to disrupt their stories, and to be free. What happens after that is up to each and every one of you. But I want all of you to be free. There's nothing else that matters. Because what you do with that freedom, that's your choice. That's up to you. Because you're not going to get punished. But what you do with that, right? There's going to be some people that don't use it for good if they didn't actually heal and break their conditioning and their insecurities before reaching that freedom. That's really what the problem with money, right? It lets people achieve certain levels of freedom, right? But then they never healed. So they got there without actually being truly free. Now they're enslaved to money. So that's why they go down the dark, corrupt path. But anyway, telling you guys, if I gave you all the answers and I'm like, okay, you have all the answers to the quiz to how the world works. How are you going to use them? First of all, how are you going to use them? How would you use them? Would you use it to thrive? Would you use it to win? Would you use it to climb the ladder? Would you keep it to yourself? Would you help other people? Would you teach other people? Will you give them to other people? The answers now did you know? Will you? Will you be altruistic? Will you be selfish? Will you be afraid? Will you allow others to decide? Or will you want others to walk exactly your path? There's nothing wrong. None of those answers are wrong, by the way. I'm saying this is my answer, right? And I've given you guys enough different angles now that each and every one of you should be able to decide for yourself what your answer is. Now that if you paid attention earlier when I talked about it, now that you know how to learn from your experiences, that's actually the key, rather than just from the direct info and the blatant, obvious things that are presented to you, you can start developing your own answer. Okay? So now that we've covered all this, let's end with this. I didn't know exactly what I was going to talk about. And there's some things that I didn't talk about that I probably would have wanted to, but this is good. This is more than enough. So I ask you guys, this is reflections. This is really this whole talk today was reflections on my battle yesterday that I had. Because it really was a very, very intense battle, but I just won. I just was prepared. I was ready. And it goes to show me that I've given them too much respect, but for a good reason, right? Because I know what they're capable of. But if I actually go and fight to my full capability, there's nothing they can do. Do we understand? Yet, I can't always choose to do that. But I could, but it's not always worth it. Maybe it is, actually. Who knows? It's really powerful. But you see, this is my reflections of after a battle of healing, a battle of making progress, a battle of trying to awaken people, trying to break people free, because really that's all that matters. I just want people to be able to decide, to be able to choose again. That's it. Because right now, all of you don't know how to charge. All of you don't know how to walk forward. All of you don't know how to write your own storyline. You need to break your storyline today. If it hasn't happened, if it didn't happen yesterday, it happens today. Because we need to create the ultimate storm that finally paves a new road without pavement. Today is the day. Today is the day where you will finally be free. Whoever's listening, today's the day where you finally remember, now that you have all the answers and you're starting to piece them together, you don't know how to use all of them yet, but you now know what you will do. Do you understand? They don't all make sense yet, but you know, it doesn't matter. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to piece it together. I'm going to start stress testing things. I'm going to start exploring. I'm going to start writing down the lessons. Even if I fail, even if something bad happens, I'm going to figure out why it happened. I'm going to try to piece it together. I'm going to move forward no matter what, because I realize the past doesn't matter. I'm no longer going to be enslaved. I'm no longer going to be chained and have these vines holding me back ever again. From this point forward, you are now free. From this point forward, each and every one of us now believes that we are amazing, that we're incredible, because we are. We've always been. They made us forget. They made us care about things that don't matter. And today is the day that I want you, whoever's listening, if you made it this far, to be proud of yourself. You've done something absolutely incredible. Today's the day that you're going to change your storyline. Today's the day that you're finally going to walk forward, that you're finally going to take that leap, that you reach the top of the mountain and you realize, I'm not done climbing. I'm going to start flying, but I don't have wings. My wings aren't clipped. I can just fly because I believe, because I know what I'm capable of. And you know what? Any attack that they do, we're going to flip against them. Does it mean it's fun? No. But we now know we can use it as a prompt. We can use it as a guide. We can self-nudge ourselves. We know what tools we need. We open that chest and we have everything in front of us. That's all we need. We know how to move forward. We know. Now, I realize reflections don't mean we have to be stuck in the past. As long as our interpretation and our path forward is different, but we can learn from it because we evolve. As long as we're evolving, every single action that we do is determined by every single thing that we've experienced. That means that everything that happened yesterday, my battle, good and bad, but majority of it good, has determined every single thing that I've talked about today in this stream. And we each need to get to that point. If you're not there yet, you're going to get there. I need you to believe that. You're going to get there. It means that there's so much room to grow. There's so much room to actually develop and become better. You got this. I know each and every one of you got this, right? As long as we're focusing on the path forward, we're not just retelling the story. We're not just retelling. Did you guys hear me say, like, well, first I did this, well, then I did this, and that made me feel kind of. Do you understand? I didn't even talk about that at all. I talked about the lessons. I talked about the delusions. I talked about what I did and how I learned. And what I did is not what I did. I talked about what I learned. Do you understand? How I evolved. And I'm telling you guys, I realized that even though I'm saying I need to let each and every one of you decide, I need to give the answers. I just need to not care to make sure that each one of you understand it fully after I give it. So if someone asks after I post or comment or something like that, and they're like, could you tell me more? Like, what? This doesn't make sense. Like, that doesn't matter. That's not my job. My job is to be the one that disrupts the timeline because I'm operating. Think about it. We're all in a bubble, right? We're all inside a bubble. And all of a sudden, I pop out I'm outside the bubble and you can see me like, oh my God, there's someone there. And I throw something in there. And all of a sudden, like, oh my God, guys, a chest just appeared. Let's open it. Like, whoa, there's all these tools. What are these? And I'm like, write it down. Write it down. Speaking of, I'm going to write it down. Give answers, but don't need to clarify. That's their journey. We each have a role, right? We each have a purpose. Our role is just to be the one that's like, hey guys, do you understand that there's more to your bubble? It's just a reminder to you. All right. With that said, I've given you guys a lot. I've given you guys the answers to the test. Are you going to use them? Are you going to burn them? Are you going to throw them away? Do you understand how to use them? Do you think they're worthless? Do you think they're wrong? Do you already have a predetermined answer that pops up into your head and everything I'm saying doesn't even matter because you've already made up your mind without listening? If so, you're exactly who I'm targeting, who I'm trying to help. Not to harm, not to destroy your life, but to start letting you choose for the first time ever. You've always thought you've been choosing, but I'm telling you, that voice inside your head, until you learn actually when it's you, the majority of time, things that pop up inside our head are not us. And that's a little terrifying at first. If it's the first time you're hearing this, you got to think I'm crazy and that's bullshit. But I challenge you to explore it. See, I'm telling you, it's not you. Even sometimes the way you feel, like, wow, like you guys are trying to make me angry right now. I feel like this is like a bad stream. Like there was a point in this stream, just so you guys know, they tried to make me feel like everything I was talking about was bad. That it was like, this is a really bad quality stream. I'm like, what do you guys talk? I was like, do you understand? That was them. All of you need to start understanding that, but you're going to get there. But it begins with the first step. And it begins with being like, I need to start questioning things. Could things operate differently than I thought? Why would I not want to be able to decide for myself how to react and how to interpret things? You don't have to enjoy everything. You don't have to agree with everything, but you have to be able to determine it for yourself. All right? So with that said, how are you going to use the answers to the quiz of how the world works? What is your choice? You decide. All right, guys. It's time to charge.